now listening to the No Invite Podcast. Yeah. Bam, y'all know what it is. We back. No Invite Podcast. It's me, it's your folks, Blaze One Diz, and we got, of course, the starting three lineup up in the building right now. What's going on? Let's take it with Hot Mama. How are you doing?
I am having a glorious day, thank you.
All right, okay. Then we got the best kept secret over there. What's up with it?
All right, hello.
Okay. And we're in the building now. And we can't look. So full discretion, you know, I shot actually originally a podcast last night. And at the beginning of the podcast, I don't know what it was that made me think it was a good idea to eat an edible before I started doing the podcast. And don't get me wrong, I eat edibles and shit, and it's not no thing, but I got one for my friend and it didn't have no packaging that said like, it didn't have no packaging saying the milligrams or nothing on it like that. It was just like a homemade thing.
It was wrapped in a napkin.
No. It wasn't, it was cereal. It was cereal. So I take a little bit out, I try it. You know, usually when an edible is strong, you kind of like could taste it a lot. You know what I'm saying? I tried a couple of the Cocoa Krispies, didn't feel shit. And then I'm like, all right, fuck it. I poured it in a cup, put a little milk. I smacked it. As soon as the milk started hitting it though, I guess it brought all the flavor out. And I was like halfway through it. So I'm like, fuck it. I'm like, yeah, I got to muscle through. I'm just going to eat all this shit and just jump right to it. I'm sure by the time it starts kicking in and everything, it's going to go down. Man, you could see my decline. Like as I'm talking, you could see like I'm getting lost in my thoughts. I'm forgetting what I said, the point I was trying to make. I'm stalling hell along trying to think of what I was going to say. And I'm like, you know what, I just sat up. I looked around. I was like, you know what, that's the end of the podcast, and just cut that shit off. Went in laid on the couch. I thought I was fucking done for the night. I don't know. I was fucked up. I ain't been high like that since I was in motherfucking junior high or some shit. You know what I mean?
Junior high? Oh my God.
I started smoking when I was 11, man. I hope you know that. I started smoking weed when I was like 11. I was that bad kid, by the way. You know, so I was that bad kid. We was out there smoking Phillies and shit. We thought we were tight. You know what I mean? Like, hey, look at this little ass kid with this big ass blunt. But yeah, so just say no, kids. You know, just know that that your old Uncle Diz over here take all those bullets for you when it comes to the edibles. Because my old lady was like, "What's up? So are you good now today?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good." She's like, "You gonna do it again, huh?" And I was like, "Probably."
I'm kind of curious. I'm like, what that tastes like.
It was fire though. Don't get me wrong. It was fire. The edible was hella good. It was, and plus, you know what it is. This is the prime reason why you shouldn't be on some high shit, because I was already high. I had been smoking weed, smoking joints with my homie and shit. We had just did the studio session, and I was like, yo, I'm so high. I was like, I need some chocolate, or I need like something sweet. I got a sweet tooth. I'm thinking about being lazy. I'm like, I don't want to drive to the store. So then I'm like in my room and shit, like, you know, gonna handle some business. You feel what I'm saying? Like I got shit to do. I go in my room, digging around, and boop, this little bag drops off. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I opened it up, and it's all them edibles in there. It wasn't even a lot, so like 4 edibles, but it was like 4 little cereal boxes. And I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about this. I'm like, yeah, I'm stoned already too. I'm like, chocolate. I'm like, all right, fuck it, let's go. I went in. Yeah, bad mistake. I didn't get shit done. I was supposed to do laundry. I was supposed to make food. I was supposed to do a lot of shit, man. And like I said, I'll probably release that version as just like a blooper reel, or maybe just take some pieces out of it just to make the blooper reel for this, you know, because we do the whole New Year's and do the blooper reel shit. So y'all just trust me when I say I was fucked up last night, and I woke up high this morning. I woke up 6 a.m. on the couch, shaped like laid out like a L, like this, legs straight, legs this way, curled up on the thing. I woke up like, what the fuck happened? I thought I was kidnapped or something. I almost didn't recognize where I was at. And then I was like, oh, I'm on the couch. I'm like, okay. So y'all be careful. That was basically my week. Y'all, how was your week, Ann? Well, that was just my Sunday. My weekend was good too, but I'll get to that later.
So my weekend was actually very fun. I did something for the first time.
What'd you do? Your first times are kind of wild, just so you know. You know what I mean? You went to last week, you told us about your first time.
It wasn't going to a sex club because you done did that. So, well, we first time.
That cherry popped already.
I finally Like I'm not like a anti-gun kind of person, but I've lived in like this happy bubble of just, bubblegum drops and rainbows that I've never even thought like, oh, I should get one or shoot a gun for fun. And I got to go to a gun range.
Fun. Oh yeah. It's a little addicting, right?
So look, on God, first time I shot it, I didn't know like a spark that kind of looked like starting a fire comes out with the little bullet thing, and then the little cap thing like shot back, and it kind of scared me. So I was like, oh, I don't want to do this no more, and I kind of stopped. And then I saw like how I had to see how other people was doing it. Like I wasted like 20 minutes of the time that I was supposed to be in there just trying to get an idea of like, why is y'all not afraid that? And in my head, I was like, I be wearing weaves and wigs and stuff, so I didn't want my hair to catch on fire. So the spark kind of threw me a little bit. It's like, oh my God. I'm gonna need you
to wear fire range appropriate clothing and hair. So, or headgear. Actually, you don't got you could wear whatever. You just make sure it fits in your hat. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're worried about shit catching on fire, and that's actually something that could happen. You know what
exactly.
I mean?
That's
Safety
the reason why. Like
first.
the first, I got a video of it. I send it to y'all. The first time I officially shot it, I was like, oh nope, this is not for me. Then I dropped the gun, and they told me you're not supposed to like just drop it down like that because it could misfire. And I was like, oh my God, okay. Well, it was so complicated. I just could not. It was a lot. And so then I had the guy come in and he helped me. He was telling me like how you stand. And like when that movie Ride Along, where the Kevin Hart, he shoots the gun, and then after he shoot the gun, his body go all the way back. So I'm thinking in a movie.
That's how you felt? You was about to fly off?
Well, I was thinking it was just dramatic, right? I didn't realize it really got like a kickback. Like my shoulder went back. I was like, this is not for me. Then once I started getting the technique, I started doing it, and I was like, ooh, I shot him in the neck. Ooh, I hit a bullseye. I started getting excited. I said, ooh, I'm going back again. I'm excited to go back. So yeah, I know how to shoot a gun now. Total thug. I'm a total thug.
I'm gonna put an asterisk next to that thug, just that thuggery, just because you was spooked like that, talking about, you know what I mean, pump faking and shit at the front. But no, I mean,
she had a legit fear she was going to catch on fire. I feel like that's something that I would have never thought of going. You know what I mean?
I didn't really honestly think so. In my head, I thought, I know, like I've seen in the movies and stuff, the olden days.
Well, that's where you fucked up. First of all, you're using movie references, some real life shit. But go ahead.
So I saw where they put like gunpowder in it and you push it down and then it shoots. And yes, that would have but I thought the spark was inside the bullet. So I couldn't understand why mine was sparking.
Because when the hammer hits the projectile, it sparks all of that inside there, like how you're saying that gunpowder, which shoots the projectile out, and that explosion releases. That is the explosion of it, passing through. You gotta remember that little fire and steam that pushes the projectile out, which is the bullet. That flame got to go somewhere.
I know, but I didn't think it was gonna go there. And then the bullet shell bounced off the wall and like came back at me. It threw me off, and it was hot.
Yeah, it's. Like I said, there's a little explosion that happens in there. So usually those carry heat and stuff. So it heats things. So yeah, I get that. No, but I mean, shout out to you though for at least conquering your fear. And most importantly, exercising your motherfucking U.S. American right to bear arms, because you never know, there might come a day where they don't allow you to do that no more. So it's good that you exercise that right and let them know that, you know what, because that's another thing. Like I feel like California, because of its strict gun laws, well, I'm gonna say certain areas of California, because of the strict gun laws, they'll look at you funny if you teach and promote firearms and firearm safety in your home. You dig what I'm saying?
Which is weird.
Well, it is weird because it's something that you should be able to do regardless. Like you should be able to teach your kids, like it's different. You know how I'm gonna tell you like this. It's because like I said, folks like me and you dig what I'm saying? So
I don't want to teach nobody nothing.
Yeah, no doubt. You know what I'm saying? So, but what I'm saying is that you know, like because of us folks like me and you know what I mean, it's not common, and they trying to look at it crazy and make it seem like it's a crazy thing, when in actuality and reality it's a normal thing. Let's take a quick break real quick. I'm sorry, let's take like a 5-minute break, and then we'll jump right back on. All right,
okay.
And we back. You know how to take a little pause for the cause, how to take a little break, y'all. You know how I go. And we were talking about your gun toting experiences, and I'm glad that you're exercising your right. Just please don't be scared. You got to understand, when it comes to stuff like that, you got to kind of lean into it. If you have fear, that fear, especially when it comes with dealing with something dangerous, if you have that fear and you let that fear take too much of a hold of you, it can lead to, you know, accidents. So, you know, I'm glad that you're conquering that fear.
The purpose of me going was because I realized after certain situations I've encountered, I don't have gun safety knowledge. Like, to be truthful, I had never touched a gun, ever. So if I don't have the knowledge and I keep feeling like, okay, especially with some of the things that's going on, like relocating and all that, I want to be able to protect my house. But to me, I honestly started feeling, because I was watching a lot of like videos on it. And one of the number one things everybody was saying was that the people that you typically shoot themselves or shoot someone inside their home are people who lack gun safety knowledge. So like people that are shooting through floors and they don't know how to make sure there's nothing in the chamber. And I'm like, oh, there's a chamber? Like, I didn't even realize you have to manually put bullets in. I just assumed
that they load themselves.
That sounds stupid, but I didn't you really have to
Wait, what? Say that again. You didn't know what?
I didn't know you have to manually put the bullets in. I thought you could just put them in something and then they come out.
I think that's my favorite part is loading the fucking.
No, I hear you. No, yeah, and you know what though? I am even more now than ever, very happy and grateful that you went and got some kind of training, because the fact that you didn't really understand the concept of how guns works, but you own one, you know, that's very honorable of you to wanting to go learn and do that, because it's showing responsibility. I'm not making fun of you. I'm being serious. Like, the fact that you didn't know that and you're learning all this stuff is what most people should do. You know, right. Like how you said, how they're telling you all these accidents that happen because people have zero lack of gun training, is because people don't understand the concept of a gun or what it means, or how it could be, how its presence affects people and how they change. So, you know, it affects a lot of things. Excuse me, I'm not going to just say people, but just in general. So salute to you for that. Like, real shit. Like, I'm proud of you. You went and handled that shit. That's how you're supposed to be. Everybody that has a legitimate, a legitimate access to, can exercise their right, I guess you could say, should be getting training and should be doing the work. So
I feel like everybody should know how to garden and shoot a gun. Or
yes.
Those are two. Themselves. I think those are two definite skills that everybody should have. Like, seriously.
Mm-hmm.
I think so too.
Gardening is a way for you to live, regardless.
And gun is a way to protect yourself, and yours, you know.
Yeah,
and I don't know how to do neither.
I mean, it's wild, honestly. You know, when you think about us as humans, and we're just gonna say in the United States, how much we really rely on each other. Period. Yeah. Because you may not know somebody directly, but you're relying on them to follow the red lights. You're relying on them to, you know, do their job so that we could have food to eat regardless of what their job is. If they work at the grocery store, they work at the butcher, they work at the farm. We rely on each other a lot, and not having being that, it's kind of a handicap, because we stopped learning, like how you said, how to garden, how to grow our own produce. You know, we've forgotten how to butcher a chicken. You know, we've forgotten how to do certain things and raise chickens and all the little shit that actually kept people alive. You know, it wasn't no Safeway back in the days and shit that was keeping people. You had to learn how to do this shit. And it's kind of crazy if you think about it, how much we don't know, like that we used to know, as far as humans goes, and how it goes to, you know, raising shit. And that's wild.
Actually, it sounds silly.
It sounds crazy, right?
Yeah,
but
no,
I mean,
it really do sound silly. We have all these conversations about like stranger danger, trusting, and all this stuff, and we literally trust everybody with almost everything.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. We're trusting them. Like I said, I heard it on a podcast. Somebody else was talking about it too. They were saying that it's crazy how much we rely on people just for everyday things. Like I said, you're relying on that person to follow the rules of the road so that you could get to your house safe and not have to worry about an accident. They're relying on you to do the same thing. People are relying on you to get up and go to work. If everybody says, we're not going to work no more, fuck this shit. We ain't going to have this food. Because we don't know how to grow it. We don't know how to butcher our own shit. We don't know how to do a lot of things. And it's crazy, really. It's kind of mind-boggling. I mean, do you remember how do you remember how bad people were going when it was like, it was COVID and it was the whole fucking, they ain't no toilet paper and water and crazy shit. And now with toilet paper though, right? But just imagine that, like all it takes is for motherfuckers to stop listening and shit could go bad real quick.
For real.
Okay, so look, we're gonna get into it. We're gonna keep it moving. We still ain't ready for the new. We got a new segment coming up. It's called "By Any Means Necessary." I just want to make this announcement before we move on to the topics. Basically, I want to get it down here so people know we did this shit first. Basically, what I want is everyone from the podcast, they have homework to do, and we're expecting them to do it. And part of that homework is, bringing a meme to work for the podcast so that we could do our best to interpret it and give you guys our take on the meme and how funny, stupid, or whatever the hell it is in between, in attempts to kind of like educate our fellow people out there that, because everybody got like a friend. I don't know. I'm not going to say everybody, but everybody knows somebody that you send them stuff like memes. You send them videos and shit like that from the internet, and they're completely lost. Like, they don't get it. They're like, what is this? Tell me I'm wrong. They're like, what does this mean? Like, what's that supposed to mean? You have to break it down to them, right?
You're the wrong person then.
And clearly you did, but let's do our part and help educate our fellow man and with these memes, because clearly memes are the new way to communicate in 2023 and furthermore. So we're going to get to that eventually, but we're going to go ahead and jump off into the topics like we always do. And I got an interesting one for y'all, and I want to get y'all take on it. If you don't know the situation or what's going on, after 27 years, apparently they allegedly have an accessory to Tupac's murder in custody. His name's Dwayne Keefe D. He, a few years back, admitted to being an accessory to the murder of Tupac to detectives while they were investigating the Notorious B.I.G. murder. They had this dude. They knew he knew something. He was a figure around all those dudes back in the 90s. They set him up, with some dope and shit like that. The police, it's not entrapment, I guess, but it sounded like entrapment to me. They set him up for some dope sales. Once they caught him, they knew with his record and everything he was going to do probably the rest of his life in prison. So what they did is they look, we're going to give you a deal. Tell us what you know about the Biggie Smalls murder, and what you say in court will not be admissible. We're not going to sweat you. We're not going to say nothing. And he goes, if you lie, then we're going to put you in prison. So when they started asking him questions, they asked him about this. He goes, you want to know about Biggie? He goes, that wasn't us. He goes, I don't know nothing about that one. So then, this is all documented, right? So I'm giving you guys a brief synopsis so you guys kind of know what's going on. Basically, so that happens. He ends up there. They ask him what's going on. They got him already, telling. So it's a wrap. He's cooperating clearly. And he tells him the story that happened after the Las Vegas fight. That was his cousin that got punched on by Tupac and Suge. And they caught him not too long after that. About an hour later, they caught him on the Vegas Strip. Y'all know what happened. Tupac, boom, boom, bam. So these detectives that were investigating the Biggie Smalls case actually stumbled onto allegedly solving the murder of Tupac by this guy. There's a couple things that I want you guys to understand, though, that doesn't make sense to me. One of the things that doesn't make sense is the detective that got this information, the one that was leading and spearheading the investigation about Biggie Smalls, did not. Well, he's the one that initially okayed and got the information and okayed the documentary. So while this guy was offered a deal, Keefe D was offered a deal by this detective to speak on whatever he was going to speak on, he was not allowed to leave and speak on it anywhere else because it could be used against him. So, you know, nobody was really supposed to know who did what. It was supposed to be like a secret. This detective released that footage in his documentary to make money. So when he did that, he's running around making money off this dude's confession, which he wasn't supposed to be out there to begin with. So then dude is like, okay, well, if he's out here doing interviews and doing this and making money, he goes, I should be capitalizing off it too. It's my life. So he started doing interviews. And then he wrote a biography and where he talks in detail about his thought process and everything while on the way and during the act of murdering Tupac, allegedly. So this guy basically told on himself, and then he somehow, I don't know, one thing or another, he somehow told on himself again, if that makes sense, because he went out and started doing these interviews, Vlad TV, Art of Dialogue, you name it. There's a bunch of videos out there. There's a whole lot of conspiracy things going on. So what do you guys, now that you guys know about this information, what do you think? I'm gonna start with Ann. What do you think about this whole situation? Like, what's the first thing that stuck out to you when you heard that they caught Tupac's killer? Allegedly,
the first thing I thought was, how? That was honestly the first thing I thought, like, how are y'all still investigating it 27 years later? But then when I started learning like the background of him basically telling on himself, it just told me like, this is the problem with today's society. Like there was a couple of things about the whole scenario that threw me off. One, I feel like especially back then, it was very big on like, people don't like snitches. So the fact that you did the interview, tried to keep it under wraps, your paperwork ain't clean, that was like, to me, because we don't officially know, but if you are running around here, like, because there was one where I think, didn't he say like DJ Quick was affiliated or something allegedly?
There's a lot to it. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. There's so much information out there pertaining to this situation. You could go literally, like, I'm gonna keep it funky with you. Like, Vlad TV, Art of Dialogue, a lot of these platforms that are very, very popular right now, a lot of them came up on interviews regarding the Tupac case, because that's how deep it is. There's so many layers to it. There's so many different things. So that's what you felt like when you heard you're like, how, right? Now that you know how it happened, like,
what? How? In my head, so there were so many. First of all, I watch way too much Law and Order, right? So in my head, I was thinking, like, was there like a DNA that was at the scene of the crime that was unidentified? Somebody committed the crime now, and then they ran the lab, and they're like, "Oh, this DNA goes with this DNA," and like, there was so many like how questions. Then when I started researching it, I was just like,
"Motherfucker told himself. He told him.
Yeah, like
they didn't know." The streets knew, though. I'm gonna be honest with you. Even back then, there are a lot of people knew. Even the dude that they said killed him, he did an interview on TV trying to tell everybody that he didn't kill him. They interviewed him because he was like the suspect, because that's the dude that they beat up in the MGM Grand in the casino. So he, back like in '97, he did an interview with like Barbara Walters or somebody where they asked him. He's like, no, I didn't kill him. So look, I want to give you guys a couple. I want to talk to you next. Mama, what do you think about what you think about when you first heard that they caught Tupac's killer?
I just kind of thought to myself, like I wonder what they're trying to sway our attention from. You know, is because like Ann mentioned, this is a 20-year-old case. You know what I mean? 27 years old. 27-year-old case, and not saying that 27 years doesn't deserve justice, because every case deserves justice. But like, it's kind of random for it just to pop up now, like, and then all of a sudden they have like all these alleged, you know, confessions and things, and then the confessions also makes me think of, what is this guy getting out of it? Like, how, like, kind of along the same lines of the other topic of like doing it just for the clout, or you know what I mean? Like,
well, I want you guys to understand something. I want y'all to understand something. I gave y'all the watered down version. This case really goes deep. Okay, so they said that this is all documented. At one point, the Notorious B.I.G.'s mother was suing Los Angeles County for the death of her son because the first primary investigator of her son's case came up in his investigation. It came up that it was police involvement. So that's what he said. They fired that dude because he was going against what the police was saying. That he was slandering police basically, but he was saying no, it was police that were working for yada 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 that did this. He has it all in his case. It's all public knowledge. I'm not saying nothing that motherfuckers don't know that's already been out there a billion times already. But so the mother sued Los Angeles County for like $480 something million. It was something crazy, right? Because that's what they said her son was worth throughout the lifetime of his career had he continued in the projected growth that he was going to. So when that happened, that's when they started this whole let's find out who the killer is for Biggie. You're gonna have to follow me, okay? It's gonna be a lot of info for Biggie. During the process of that investigation, because what they were trying to do, the LAPD wasn't trying to find the killer. What they were trying to do is they hired the one. They didn't hire their detectives, but they put one of the detectives on it because they needed to prove that the Los Angeles PD was not involved, so that they could be cleared of this lawsuit. So then they hire this cop, which this cop has questionable background and has actually been kicked off a bunch of cases, and he's retired now. After his case, he retired. When that happened, and all the situation, they hired the dude. He ended up sparking the investigation. They found out who Tupac's killer was in the process of it because these two murders they said are connected. And then he brought it over to the LAPD. The LAPD brought it to the mother of Biggie Smalls and said, look, we're making progress. We're probably going to have somebody soon. She dropped the lawsuit. And then it went cold. You see, they ain't found nobody about Biggie, right? He said nothing about Biggie. It went cold after that. But they did make it public knowledge that they found Tupac's killer. And it was the person that they said allegedly the whole time. So this is what makes me question this. It's like, okay, their motive, the LAPD's motive wasn't to solve the crime. Their motive was to discredit the theory of their own detective, the initial detective that started the case, which was his allegations where there was police involvement, right? So now, with the Tupac murder, like I told you guys, they found dude. They were asking him about the Biggie Smalls murder, and he ended up talking about the Tupac murder because he was like, we weren't involved in the Biggie murder. So this has been something that's not just, it seems like it's overnight, but I want you guys to remember, it's just something that's been brewing slowly. Because like I said, in 96, when all this shit happened, the streets knew, or the streets were talking about it, they said they had an idea of who it was. Now, I can't tell you who they were saying because it's way up here. I don't fucking know. This was in LA. And this is stuff that people that got interviewed said as well. But I question, like you, like I said, I question their motives. It's like, if you had this dude and you knew he was the killer this whole fucking time from, why didn't you guys been arrest him? Well, I mean, like I said, and I'm speaking from like just a logical standpoint. Like, I don't want nobody to get arrested. I'm not, you know what kind of justice I like. You know what I mean? So, but you know, it's a very, very weird situation because you guys know, okay, though. So the rest of the story goes, right? So the guy that confessed to Tupac's killing, he basically put it out there that he was hired by Puffy and was supposed to be paid $1 million to do this. Allegedly. That's part of his story that he confessed to. Because and I'm gonna give you guys a couple of things. I'll give you guys some homework if you guys want. You guys are interested and you want to know more. There's a unsolved series on Netflix. It's about Tupac and Biggie and this whole situation and the detective's investigation. It'll give you like some insight on the investigation and what's been going on. But to be honestly, I'm with you on this. I really feel like it's maybe not so much a distraction, but I feel like it's exactly what they did with Biggie Smalls' mom. They're like, we're going to arrest this dude. Because I don't feel like it's dude. because there's a lot of eyewitnesses that were there that were Tupac's friends that said it was a light-skinned arm that came out of and shot out of the Cadillac. And dude is dark, and all the dudes that were in the car were dark, because there was 4 people in the car allegedly when this happened. So I don't trust. I feel like they're just arresting this person, and unfortunately, I'm gonna say they're arresting this person, and the LAPD is doing it for clout. They're also doing it because, like, they're like if let's say like this, let's say we know somebody, like we know that the police knows who killed our loved one, and the police isn't doing anything about it. You could eventually, if you have enough evidence, if you have enough stuff, you could file a lawsuit against that police department, just like Biggie Small's mother did, and be like, you guys are negligent and you're failing to do your job. The way I look at it, like I said, how they just did that shit for Biggie Small's mom, and then they stopped the investigation. I feel like they needed somebody to take this fall. They found the perfect person that was willing to confess. Like, yeah, I'll confess to it if you're going to give me a deal. I'm not going to go to prison. I'm not going to do nothing. I'll say that I was the one that did it with my people so that I could get off. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I'm not like, let's say allegedly. I don't know. Like, I don't have no firsthand knowledge, nor am I acting like I do. This is all alleged shit. This is just shit that's going to work its way through the system. And we'll find out in a year or two, or whenever they do the trial. But it is kind of wild.
Interesting that this is an election year, and all of a sudden this is popping up. I feel like something major always pops up in election year.
But you know what it is though too, that's why you can't be so fixed on shit. And that goes to the topic that we're talking about. Like, dude definitely self-snitched on himself. And because he could have been out and about, no matter what the other detective, he put out a documentary and put all his business out in the streets. If he would have just kept quiet and not said nothing, he probably would not be in jail right now. But the agreement they gave him said you cannot speak upon this anywhere else other than in here, because although the LA gave you this deal, Las Vegas ain't give you this deal.
Facts.
So that's how they got him. Stealth snitching at its finest. And it's like how you said, I really feel like they use shit like this. People use shit like this for all the wrong reasons, and it could be a distraction from something else. But that's why you can't get totally transfixed on one thing. You know, same thing with sports. I like football. I like to watch my football, but I'm not finna run out and start fighting people that talk shit about my football team, no matter how bad we are. I'm not finna go get into it and then go do some dumbass shit. That's what they want. They want to get some kind of reaction out of you. And I'm gonna say they, because it could be anybody. That's the true form of control. When you know what it takes to set somebody off, and then you could play them into your hand. Be like, I know Ann gets mad when I leave the toilet seat up. So I want to go out tonight. I need a reason to fight with Ann.
That's hella toxic. Oh my God.
But look, that is toxic, but I'm using that on a relationship level. You got to understand, this is how they control the masses. You dig what I'm saying? The same shit. Right. Same fucking thing. Oh, I need to elicit a response from people, so I'm going to figure out exactly what makes people fucking feel a certain way so they could play into my hands. Like I said, the same thing we were talking about, how people slander each other, or we talking about the Illuminati, or we're talking about how reality TV is a fucking poison, I feel like, and it's bullshit, and all it does is portray people in a negative manner and spin things in a negative manner. It's already bad enough that people of color are already portrayed as negative and violent and all this other stuff, but this new generation, this new clout, this new all the shit is just getting redundant. Like, you brought up a good point. You were talking to me about Blueface. Were you not?
Yes.
And
now, saying that now makes me feel like him and Krishan, they're just a distraction.
It's not even a distraction, because like I said, they could be a distraction, but it's not like somebody set it up. They're actual people living their lives doing what they think they did. But see, the thing is that the fuel to the fire is the distraction. You do what I'm saying? Like we're giving them a platform to distract us. Mm-hmm. We need to stop making people that are not fucking worth being famous. Yeah, well, I mean, Blueface has talent. He's a musician, but he needs to lean into that more. See, a lot of these rappers are leaning into reality shows and and jumping on these platforms and gossiping and doing shit that just was like, bro, when the fuck did you ever start? What part of the game is this? You run to the internet and tell all your business in tweets. You go on there and you expose your child because obviously you ain't got no power in this situation when it comes to your child, and your child is in pain, but you went about it the wrong way. He didn't do it because he was trying to get some kind of satisfaction or be a creep about it. But at the same time, there's hella creeps out there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't put my child on the internet for a reason, and it's because of shit like that. And everybody's different. I don't judge people, but that's just my preference. Like, you ain't gonna see, if you see my kid, you can see her in person. You see her when you come over, but whatever, I'll show you a picture on my phone if I see you, but I ain't posting that because of shit like that. But look, that's neither here nor there. Like I said, there's enough negativity being fueled out there already as it is. And it's terrible that people like this get the platform, but it is a distraction because they could give that platform to anybody else. We have the power as people to put whoever we feel fit in the limelight. But
the way things go, like, I feel like, okay, so there's multiple levels to this, right? Because what they're going to push out is what is going to generate most traction. I think age-wise, what will generate more traction for me is very different than these youngsters. And I've seen kids getting a phone as young as 5.
Terrible.
With Instagrams and Facebooks and TikToks, and people think my kids are weird because they don't have social media at all. Like, what do you mean you don't have TikTok? What do they need TikTok for? Like, for what?
For what? Yeah.
So,
and then what do you want it to be here for your satisfaction? Do you want them to be online so that you could be entertained? No, they're kids.
Right. And so I think when you put that into perspective, and there are more and more, I call them technology parents who really don't parent their child. They just put them in front of some form of technology to silence them. Then the numbers are going to be generated based off of what a child's mind that is completely underdeveloped is going to be entertained by. So they're entertained by bullshit. So,
well, yeah, I mean, it's bad enough that we got them on screens, okay? And some parents try their best. They only let their kids watch, educational shit and all that. But it's still a substitute for the actual spending time with your kid. It's still a substitute for actually, teaching them valuable lessons and giving them the things that they really need. And I look at the whole situation, in general, and as far as like, you ever notice how they want to cancel everybody else, but they let other people slide?
Okay.
They cancel the people that's not their favorite.
It's not even about their favorite. They cancel the people that doesn't serve a purpose to them.
It's the agenda.
Right. Exactly. And everybody has an agenda, so we could go super big conspiracy theory and way wide in the whole world, or we could just go by media outlets in general. The people that fund these things is because they know that people like to see garbage and hot dumpster fires. So of course they're going to do that because it's money to them. They don't give a fuck about how you feel or how you're raising your kids or how you're trying to how your people look or how your community looks. They don't give a fuck about that. They give a fuck about money. And the cold part about it is that that's the problem. Like that's the problem right there, is they make people famous that don't deserve to be famous because they know that that's the new shock value. That's the new thing nowadays, is who could be like that girl Lil Tay is back and she's back talking shit. But remember, she fooled us like a couple of weeks ago with, Lil Tay is dead and all this other shit online.
She said her dad did it, right?
Of course she did. Of course she did. Man, it's funny how after she said her dad did it, she rolls out with a music video and she's out here talking shit again on the platforms, right? Mm-hmm. And guess what? Everybody that didn't peep that, you fell for it. She got you right where she wanted you because you were intrigued. Like, she's back. Her dad was doing her wrong. We wish the best for her. What does she do? And comes back and talks shit and starts talking about poor people again. So look, like I said, people want to see the bad shit. And unfortunately, these companies, they don't give a fuck about how you feel, how you're raising your kids, or what your people look like. Once again, like I said, all they give a fuck about is money. So as long as we give these two people the ratings, we give these two people the downloads and the views, and we're worried and commenting about what the fuck they're doing, they're forever going to have a spot because they're always going to cook your brain with that shit. It's terrible. Reality show, honestly, and I don't know how you feel. I don't know how y'all feel. I don't watch that shit no more. I don't watch reality shows. I know it's guilty pleasure. I get it. I'm not judging.
I cringe when my Facebook memories pop up, and I used to be hella excited to watch the Bad Girls Club. Like, I remember watching that and thinking like, oh my God, this is so much fun. And then I watch it now and I'm like, oh, I'm getting such bad anxiety. Like, don't do that.
Well, no, and that's the thing. Like, unfortunately, like it is, like it's our natural human curiosity that we live everyday, average, regular lives. Like I said, every now and then we all have like our moments where we do shit that ain't really average. You go do things and have a good time or whatever, have memories. But for the most part, our lives ain't like that on a daily.
No.
Let me give you an example.
Thank God.
I fucking hate watching court TV.
Brings up memories.
Bad memories. I've lived that shit.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, it's a double-edged sword, I guess. Like, because it could work both ways. You could be like, I lived that, I never want to see that shit again. Or I lived that and I think it's interesting that other people are doing it and it's not me. You know what I mean?
That's how I feel about scary movies. That's why a lot of people...
You lived a scary movie, Ann?
In real life. Look,
in real life?
I don't watch scary movies, and I don't watch any movie that talks about like
certain issues, certain topics.
Yeah, like schizophrenia, stuff like that. I lived it. Or like a lot of black movies, like the hood movies, I don't watch them because I lived it. I don't want to watch it. It's not entertaining to me. But I will say, I definitely, like, I remember trying out for the Bad Girls Club.
No, you didn't, Ann. No,
Ann,
you didn't.
Fuck that. Look, right now, I need that audition tape.
You'll never see it.
I'll need that audition tape.
Please.
No, there's no way. I thought you had to make one first.
I got kicked out super early because there was this girl sitting at my table getting on my nerves. I thought Bad Girls Club, they was talking about like, really being a bad girl. She kept saying like she loved her boyfriend because he was black, and it was just kind of throwing me off. And so I kind of jumped on the table being hella extra, and they kicked me out, and I was like, wait, I thought this was the Bad Girls Club. And it was like, no, we don't promote violence.
Yeah, no. I mean,
I've seen these episodes.
I've seen these episodes.
You got to go back now and go look at the whole thing. You're going to see Ann out there chunking them real quick and getting exited out. Did you make it on an episode, or you just made it like to the preliminaries and then you got booted?
I made it to the preliminary. I didn't get past the preliminaries because of trying to have a badass attitude.
Trying to be the hardest, the motherfucking hardest on the yard, huh?
Because right before I went, somebody told me, that was like, listen, and mind you, this was a cousin who had just got out of prison. That was like, what you really got to do to earn your respect? I'm like, what? It was like, find the first person, biggest person, knock their ass out. And I'm like,
that's how you get stabbed in prison or some real shit. That's how you really get
the
stabbed.
opportunity knocked, and I took it, and it was a bad idea.
Man, see? You blocked your blessings. It's all right.
I definitely did. But to be 100% honest, I don't even think I would have wanted to be on the show. Like, in hindsight, like that trying to be angry all the time is not even my personality. They would have been mad as fuck because I would have been laughing like.
Nah, you would have been cool because you would have been fighting everybody, because you know how it goes. It's the angry people and it's the people that are mad that somebody is not angry like them or miserable like this. So they would have been on your line like, this happy ass bitch. Fuck's wrong with her? Like, why you always smiling? Let's go there.
Yeah, it is horrible.
Like I said, my thing is just terrible when you start seeing like people that should know better. Like you seeing Kanye. Who the fuck released these clips of him slandering all his fellow artists? People that he's fucking. He produced the whole Nas album.
That's what I'm saying.
He did a song. He do a song with Cardi?
I don't
know. Maybe not. He didn't do a song with Cardi, but it's just like it's a shame, bro. Like,
and the thing is, some of the stuff he was saying, it wasn't like we didn't already know. It's not like Cardi ain't never said like, "Oh, I use ghostwriters." She said that in interviews.
So does he? So does Kanye.
So that's why I'm just
that's
why
I don't understand why. But see, it's like I said, it's the clout shit, man. It's people, they doing it for the clout.
Just
it's not for us to understand. I think it's like, why even try to understand that bullshit,
Well, if we're talking about Kanye there too, you gotta understand that I don't give a fuck what anybody says. People will say, "Oh, he's not. That dude got something wrong with him, bro." The way he dressed, the way that, like, it's like a lot of issues that wrong with him. Like, okay, I get it. You're trying to be a truly free person. Can't nobody tell you what to say, what to do. I get all that, but there's just some of the irrational shit that he did that just don't make no sense to me.
And I know.
Yeah, and it's just like that's not the Kanye I knew. You know what I mean? So I get that though, but I mean that's the new vibe nowadays, y'all, and that's why y'all got to be careful and be really wary about this self-snitching. You got to be really wary about people with agendas, because at the end of the day, you know, my thing is like growing up in the system, you know, that shit is manipulation. You know, that's what it's all based on. It's like, you know, growing up in the system, I've seen a lot of that, and what I mean by that is that, you know, in the criminal element, that's like one of the major things. You dig? So, you know, when you're around that and you see that stuff, you kind of like, and you know you've been around it, so you kind of like look at situations and be like, what's the angle? And I know that's probably not a healthy way to look at things, but when you look at it kind of like that, for me, it kind of helps me to figure out like who has what motives. Like, why are you here? You dig what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to ask you why are you here because, you know, I clearly, you know, if you haven't done anything to me, I'm not going to ask you why you're here. But, you know, as a person that's observant and stuff like that, I try to observe and I try to, you know, see what, you know, read the room basically. And, you know, that's all it is at the end of the day. This clout, this running to the fucking internet with all your problems, telling on themselves, telling on each other. It's manipulation, you know, in its highest form. Because what you're trying to do is, depending on what it is you're doing, you're trying to force a situation. You're trying, you know, I'm gonna go on, you know, I'm the dopest motherfucker ever. I killed like 20 people, you know what I'm saying? And the motherfucker get locked up. You may not have been trying to force a situation, but you forced the situation. You dig what I'm saying? You forced something to happen that should have probably not happened. You spoke on something that you weren't supposed to speak on, and now you're paying the consequences for it. And, you know, hence, you know, going back to the original thing, it's like, bruh, should have never said shit. Bruh should have never said nothing to begin with. He should have took his time like a man. Let's not forget this dude told, and it's not allegedly, this dude ratted on the beginning because part of his deal that he got, he also wore a wire and tried to get the guy that he said helped Puffy hire him, allegedly. He tried to wear a wire so he could get dude to talk about it, and dude didn't talk about it in front of him. He's like, "Nah, I'll talk to you later." So this is all this is all public knowledge. People don't know that. It's all public knowledge. So bro wore a whole wire trying to get more people locked up for this type of shit. So in the end, he told on himself.
Why
because
are
of it.
people so comfortable with snitching?
Okay.
It's because, you know what, they're lost in the sauce, y'all. They're lost in the sauce. Like I said, this is part, and this could be part of a grander manipulation. People have no value for themselves, and they think that what they're doing, that the fame is going to save them from the consequences of their actions, and it's not the case. Nothing could save you from your consequences of your actions. That's why they're the consequences. You dig what I'm saying? Like, nothing could save you from that. They're coming to you one way or another, whether you believe in karma, what goes around comes around, whatever you believe in. What you're doing now, you will feel the effects of later on in life. Same thing with me. If I'm, you know, like they tell you eat healthy or whatever the case is, exercise or don't smoke cigarettes and shit, because what you're doing now will affect you eventually. So I kind of, you know, wanted to leave it at that, I guess, y'all. We're just going to cut it at that, because that right there should be the motherfucking PSA for everybody out there. So it was short, you know, it wasn't too much to it. I appreciate you, the best kept secret. Hot Mama, appreciate you too. We're going to start off with you, Hot Mama. Where can they find you at? What do you want to pump, push, and promote on the podcast? Because you know we love those shameless plugs.
Yes, we have a vendor event happening October 28th.
Nice.
So tap in if you are local in the East Bay. And we're going to be having lots of stuff, right? And nice. Of course, my tie-dye. And then you could take a look at it on Instagram at totally period.
Look at it. Go ahead,
and like it.
I feel like you should have said it a little bit more aggressive. Like,
I've been trying to practice my soft girl era, so I'm not going to be too aggressive. I'm going to try to come on.
Y'all, whoever invented that soft girl era shit need to be fucking beat and shot for that dumbass shit.
No, I come on.
That soft girl shit. Don't y'all know y'all are everything. You could be soft and hard and all that shit at the same time. That's part of life. When you're like, oh, I'm just gonna be soft now, pussy.
Yes, anyways, I've been hard my whole fucking life. I'm tired.
I've been hard since I was 2. I came out the womb hard.
All right.
I throbbing.
This child, I had to be hard. All right. I was not gonna survive.
I came out the vagina hard, throbbing hard. What?
God, that's such a gross idea. I don't like that.
I hopped out this thing, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's totally period tie-dye, period design, and just like it if you want.
Get the fuck out. All right, what's up with you, Ann? What we got going on? Talk to the people, man. Talk to your people.
I am still
your
doing
podcast people.
Chemicals, the chemical pills, the vajacials. Make people have
Get
a
your pussy right, y'all.
Yes. I still do the body sculpting. We are currently working on losing these 30 pounds. So if you want to join me, you're welcome to. Any and everything that I'm doing is
Why are you looking down at your body while she's talking about body sculpting and all kinds of your vagina vajacials? And she was looking down at her
being undressed as
you're all vajacials. She's all, hot mama's in the background like this.
I'm so tired. I just took off my fucking pants after this 13-hour day that I had. Okay, so
I appreciate you, but go ahead. And I'm sorry. It's just my mind is
sidetracked.
I just seen her looking down at her cooch when you were talking about vajacials. I'm like, what is going on?
I was checking it out.
I just want to make sure that she's right.
Oh, it's right, baby.
Y'all but yes, you can find me at Anasa Opulent Aesthetics, ANASA OPLUENT AESTHETICS. That's what you can look for on Instagram.
But what if they want the ratchet shit? Where do they look for it? Where do they look for that?
Then you definitely need to go to the best kept secret, THE_BEST_KEPT secret
Jesus
one.
Christ.
Jesus. If y'all don't know how to spell, then this is not my fault. The_best_kept_secret and the number 1. I actually posted just like my shoulder in the shower. I had a whole bunch of men in there. I was like, oh, okay. So did you click on the No Invite podcast one? That was everybody that was like, oh, you're beautiful. Did you click on the No Invite podcast?
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, clickbait. Ann's a master of the clickbait. I ain't mad at you. I appreciate you both. I know we all had a long day. It's a Monday. We're recording this. Hopefully this will be out by tomorrow, if not Wednesday for sure. So I appreciate you guys and your time, and the effort, it never goes unrecognized. We're going to keep it moving. With that being said, you guys could go to the no_invite_podcast. There I go again with the underscores, but you can go there and you can slander us if you want to. You could also tap in. The page is ran by an administrator, but you could tap in, leave a message on any kind of topics that you want us to talk about, as well as if you want to be on the podcast. We are still in the continuous looking for the second host of the actual No Invite podcast, this podcast. So we're definitely going to be accepting people as long as they are willing and not with the bullshit. Please don't go on there like, I could do it. You motherfuckers out there. Yeah. I don't want nobody fake half-ass acting like they could come do the podcast. Either you're for reals or you're not. Don't fucking play with me, because I will be like, no. And see, the thing is, there's a difference. I'm doing a co-host because I need to relieve some responsibility so I could go do some other things, get my play on, you feel me? Go bust my moves and shit and do what I do. So I need somebody that's going to come over here and be enthusiastic, and also, most importantly, be ready to put in the work, because we're not going to get to where we want to go if we're not putting in the work. We want to take this podcast to the next level. We want to start doing next level legendary shit. So that's my mindset. That's how we're moving. You could also go to RiBirth Media Films on YouTube. That's our YouTube channel, and subscribe. That's RiBirth Media Films with a Z. Forgive me, y'all. I'm still fighting off the effects of that fucking edible, but we'll be back and we'll be better next week. With that being said, keep it moisturized. Put a little chapstick on the corner of your mouth if your shit's dry. And always make sure to, brush your teeth. I don't know. All right, y'all.